Hey everybody, this is JDGaming. Happy Friday and welcome back to 4 Fun Facts in Yu-Gi-Oh!, the show where we discuss just that and hopefully learn something new along the way. Erratum, an error in printing or writing, a list of corrected errors appended to a book or published in a subsequent issue of a journal. In Yu-Gi-Oh!, errata are basically text changes used to clarify, clean up, or completely change the function of a confusing or crazy powerful card. While we've had some controversial redesigns to card effects as of late, that's not the focus of this video. Instead, I wanted to take a look at 4 cards with changes that just stood out to me as I grew up with the game. Relinquished is one of Yu-Gi-Oh!'s flagship ritual monsters. After all, it was the cover card of Magic Ruler, the set in which the True Blue monsters debuted in the TCG. One look at the wall of text on the original Relinquished might leave a player thinking that it's a card from the modern era, as it required a much smaller font than any other card of its time just to explain all that it could do. But a rather major component I always thought was odd to miss was how you bring it out in the first place. Ritual monsters always state the name of the ritual spell card that's used to summon the monster, even if that monster doesn't have any additional abilities or text. However, Relinquished never listed Black Illusion, Ritual, or any other ritual spell card until its 4th printing in Legendary Collection 3, Yugi's World. This is consistent with the OCG, whose 2011 re-release of Beginner's Edition 1, essentially the original version and source for our Dark Beginning 1, finally added that line of text. While it's likely unintentional, this omission feels rather similar to how the 2 cards were never printed in the same booster packs early on in the OCG's lifetime. In case you were wondering, its fusion form Thousand Eyes Restrict also has an effect omission, as its first 2 prints in Pharaoh's Servant and Duelist League forgot to mention its ability to shield itself from destruction using the absorbed monster. The next entry is quite confusing. The Gem Dragons are a series of normal monsters whose bodies are said to integrate a precious stone. The group includes the more recent Alexandrite and Labradorite dragons, Hyozanryu, whose Japanese Diamond Dragon was changed to this word meaning Iceberg Dragon, as well as the OG pair of Luster Dragons. The reason this latter duo was named this way was because the localization team wanted to capture the thematic relation these cards had. The Luster Dragon we received first in Legacy of Darkness was originally called Emerald Dragon in Japan, and the Luster Dragon we then received in Magician's Force was originally Sapphire Dragon. Ruby Dragon was an anime-exclusive counterpart to this monster, and its entire design down to the text parallels this card. However, because it was obviously confusing to have 2 different cards printed with exactly the same name, Konami eventually renamed Emerald Dragon to Luster Dragon No. 2. This doesn't make sense in terms of chronology, as this green dragon we now call No. 2 was originally released prior to the blue dragon in both the TCG and OCG. Perhaps Konami was focusing more on the relative strengths of these monsters, which would place the 2400 attack Emerald Dragon as an upgraded form of sorts. Just as lustrous is the classic trap Mirror Force, which is quite honestly one of the most iconic cards of the series. Today, we have access to at least 1 Mirror Force card for each of the game's primary 6 attributes. But regardless of your favorite flavor, the cards all deal with an opponent's attack in some way. The original Metal Raiders version of this card actually reads as follows. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, negate the attack and destroy all opponent's monsters in attack position. Subsequent prints of this card remove the term negate because this wasn't present in the Japanese version of the card at all. At the time of its introduction, destroying all of your opponent's would-be attackers essentially created the same scenario whether or not that first attack was negated, but we would eventually receive cards able to attack in defense position like Total Defense Shogun, or those immune to destruction like Beals of the Diabolic Dragons. Despite this change, the card remains a fan favorite and occasionally sees some experimentation with cards like Masked Hero Darklaw and the new Mirror Force launcher. This last card is very related to what we just discussed, and it's one that pains me to this day. Elemental Hero Rampart Blaster is the fusion of Burstinatrix and Clayman. As such, it melds the offensive and defensive themes of these 2 heroes. The card's original printings in Elemental Energy read, while this card is in face-up defense position, this card can attack your opponent's life points directly. In that case, apply half the attack of this card for damage calculation. This exact text was preserved for all unlimited runs of this set, as well as for the reprints of the first Jaden Yuki Duelist pack. However, Legendary Collection 2, the Duel Academy years, brought an unwelcome experience truly on par with the bad taste of school memories. Starting in this set, printings of Rampart Blaster included a correction. This card can attack while in face-up defense position, but only if your opponent controls no monsters. This single line totally removed any potential viability of this card, as without the ability to consistently attack through a board for 1,000 damage each turn, it's simply not worth the 3 cards that go into its fusion summon. Dumbfounded, I checked translations of the OCG's printings, but there's no indication of any crippling update to this card, and it was even ruled as being able to attack directly through opponents' monsters as late as March 2017. Had this unnecessary change not been made, I would have eagerly played Rampart Blaster in many of my classic elemental hero decks because it has always been one of my personal favorites. But seeing as we still don't even have Stratos back in the TCG, I doubt they'll even remember to fix this one. And there you have it, 4 fun facts regarding Errata in Yu-Gi-Oh! With that, we've somehow finished 10 episodes of this new series, which is crazy because that's 40 random Yu-Gi-Oh! Facts that I think for the most part we've all enjoyed. I do have a very special announcement video coming up in this time slot next week regarding what's coming up on the channel, so be sure you subscribe so you won't miss out. That's the end of this video, but there's plenty more where it came from. I invite you to explore the playlists on screen to see what else I have to offer, and if you really liked what you saw today, consider subscribing to JD Gaming for more Yu-Gi-Oh! Videos. Thanks guys, this is JD Gaming, hope you guys enjoyed as always, and I'll see you guys next time.